I don't think I have to point out that the second half of this gospel is trying to get our attention by overstatement. You know, if anybody, and there are some who take these things literally, take them literally, shame on them, because they know that that can't be the idea of how God would treat his children. I want to go back to the very beginning of Mass. I've asked that we begin every Eucharistic liturgy by saying, let us pause and give thanks to our God who so much wants to be with us. I don't know why this has been a part of me for so long, but I guess it's just going back and reviewing my life experiences. I've come to understand that God truly does want to be with us. When someone asks me, why do you remain a Catholic? What is it about the Catholic Church that appeals to you? Well, the first thing I tell them is it's the least inaccurate way I've found of approaching God. That's important to know. The other thing is, it is a sacramental church. It is a church that takes into account all of creation. It begins with events in our lives. It begins with situations in our lives and calls forth God's presence in those times, at those moments, in those situations. You know, at baptism, it's very clear. God wants us to know that we belong to him. And of course, we throw water on the child, we light candles, we put clothes on them, we anoint them with oil. We use all of the things that earth has to try and make this a real experience for whoever it is that's getting baptized. A real experience for you and I. This child belongs to God, it belongs to us, belongs to the world. When you come to the sacrament of confirmation, you're not saying, oh, I confirm that I belong to God. No. Confirmation simply says God is confirming again that you belong to him. Again, he wants you to know you belong to me. And again, you use oil, something from the earth to mark what is going on at this time. Eucharist, wheat, grapes, the very basics of life. God sanctifies, changes, transforms, and makes himself present to feed us, to strengthen us, and to bring us together. That's why we gather together. We could do this, in a drive-through if it wasn't, if this wasn't so important. He wants us to come together to be fed, to sense the oneness of who we are in the bread and the wine, in the gift of himself. Sacrament of reconciliation. I still love the idea that cilia are eyebrows, and he wants you to be eyebrow to eyebrow with God. Again, cone with. Do it again with eyebrow to eyebrow. If you think about it, that's kissing. That's how close God wants to be to us. That's what reconciliation's about. God showing us his love, his forgiveness. The sacrament of healing is a powerful sacrament. It wasn't until I became a diocesan priest that I really came to understand the power behind this. I have seen people healed. I have seen their bodies brought back to health. I've seen their spirits changed. I saw not only in the one who is suffering, but in the family and the friends of those who are watching. It's a powerful sacrament because what God wants is not our pain, but our joy. And he will heal us. He will bring us a sense of peacefulness no matter what happens. He will bring us peace. And finally, we have the other two sacraments of matrimony and ordination, where he recognizes how difficult either one of these is and grants us the gifts of patience and strength and wisdom and wraps them up with the gift of love so that they may be manifested every day throughout our lives. But that's not all our church does, just 7 sacraments. There's these sacramentals. All of creation is a testimony to God and his desire to bring us home. Probably about a year after I came here, about 15, 16 years ago, one of the young women here used to take walks down towards the hospital just to kind of get away and to pray. and she discovered the cemetery that's behind the hospital over there. And she found in the cemetery this enormous rock. And on that rock was carved out the word still. And she used to pray at that rock. And she never, for the longest time, didn't know that it was Andrew Taylor Still, the founder of osteopathic medicine, that this was about. But it brought her a sense of peacefulness to be at that rock. And she had a picture taken of it. And she wrote across the bottom, "Be still and know that I am God." And she gave me this picture when she graduated. And that sacramental, that rock, that carving, drew her closer to God, drew me and all who came into my office to see that picture, drew them closer to God. Probably the thing I rued the most with the fire was that I lost that picture. But I don't forget it. All things can be for us a way to God. Now, why do I bring this up at this time? A lot of these readings are trying to tell us the same thing. In first reading and gospel, the Spirit of God is a generous Spirit. God spreads this Spirit everywhere. In Moses, they wanted to control it. Only these people here. We want to limit who gets to touch this Spirit, who can be Spirit-filled. The apostles, the same thing. Oh, no, just me, just us. We're special. God is saying in both those instances, no, that's not the way it works. This Spirit is given to all of us. It's the Spirit we talk about in baptism and confirmation, the same Spirit that guides us through our lives. You know, the Spirit, I cannot say clearly enough how this Spirit has changed my life. Now, I've learned an awful lot from the Catholic Church. The teaching church especially has taught me a tremendous amount. And I listen and I understand. But my own life, just like your own life, has taught you also. Every one of us is a unique reflection of God's Spirit. Who you are can be the only one who can be that. And you are Spirit-filled, but full of the experiences of God in your life, from your family, in all that you've experienced up till now, in the loves that you've had, the pains that you've endured, the joys you've felt. All of those are part of the Spirit building you up. Don't sell this Spirit short. Claim it. Recognize it. Ask the Spirit to teach you each and every day. Don't limit yourself. If it's not you, who will it be? It has to be you who come forward and stand up and say, this is what the Spirit says to me. And then other people can say, I hear what he's saying or she's saying, and the Spirit has said the same thing to me. And that's how all of us will meet God in his splendor, in the oneness that he wants all of us to be a part of.